And we are live. Good morning, everybody. I'll give everyone a second to get in the room here. Morning, Joe and Randy. We've got Tim and then Mark with us in his cash cab. He is on the road, but with us nonetheless. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Thursday show. We are on here every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Central, talking about the world of finance, how to view it differently, how to go about it in a way that won't lose your money, as is the majority of traders, unfortunately, trying to go about changing that and providing people with all the information they need to be successful trade achievers without necessarily having to learn every bit of what a Fibonacci sequence is, all those things. We want to simplify the market and make it accessible to people without having to become a professional trader over the years. If we've done that for you, why should you have to go through all that effort, right? So with me today is Randy. How was your week, Randy? Baseball star?
Week is going great. Atlanta won the World Series, so
Fantastic.
finally, after all these years, and now since they won in Game 6, then I got more sleep on Wednesday night and Thursday night, and
Yep.
so because 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning was when the games were getting over here because it's starting late for the West Coast to be able to see it by the time they get home from work. So
Wow.
that's great. I'm getting ready to leave tomorrow to head down to play in my World Series tournament. So
all right,
where are you going?
Fort Myers, Florida.
Okay.
Yep. Nice place.
Randy
nice
teaches
place.
absolutely. Randy teaches our longer term trades, covered calls, momentum trading, and then all the associated techniques that come along with covered calls, TSS, fast cash, all sorts of amazing techniques that he teaches. Tim is trading on our micro moment technique. Is our nearest term trading in and out in about 2 minutes based on options on Apple, Triple Q, and SPY. Joe and Tim, how did the micro moment go today? What did you guys do? How you feeling?
today was a good day. Apple a bit slow today. We had some wins, so not bad. Our usual bounce, well, it wasn't much of a gap this morning, so our usual bounces weren't really there. But how many trades did we do, Joe?
Well, we only did two. You did two. Mark wasn't there this morning, and Cezanne was on. She didn't do a trade, and you did two for 9.8414 between the two of them, and that put us up for the week 109 plus % for the week as of what we consider the end of the day basis when we're through with it. So we'll be up. We've averaged we're in the 130th week of that service as a subscription service. Yes, sir, Randy.
I just wanted to add, I did 4 micro moment trades on SPX just in the last half hour on that nice downward decline.
Oh yeah,
total of 10% return.
Randy, we don't recognize you. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah. So we're up 100. Like I say, this was tomorrow's end of our 130th week as a subscription service. We've been doing that service or those trades for over 5.5 years, and these guys are doing our accounts plus theirs, and they're real trades. And they only last from 8:30 to 9:30 when the market opens till 9:30. And usually we quit about 9:20 or so because we usually have trades in by then. Sometimes we have 25 or 30 trades. And now the market's such it's just slower, but we're like I say over 100% for the week, and we've averaged about 130. No, we've been on 130 weeks. We've averaged over 100% for each one of those weeks. And they're fast. We're through. You're in and you're out. Like Micah said, within 1 to 2 minutes. And they're fast. And we only trade QQQs. Trades QQQs and Cezanne and Tim trade. And it's just great way to trade. Never in anything, and we're highly leveraged by virtue of we don't use margin. We're buying options, and we're just trading options. So Tim will maybe spend $2, sometimes $3 would be an expensive option on Apple, and so they just make tremendous money. That's what we're doing.
Absolutely.
And then there's Randy. Of course, Randy, like he always steps forward and tells us what he's doing before anybody even asks him. But that's okay.
Well, I'm interested in it. Randy, can I hear those returns again so they're nice and clear?
Well, for micro moment trading, SPX is what I trade.
Okay, I thought you were talking about your cover calls. Gotcha.
No, I was talking because they were talking about the trades that they did. But just in the last, this is just in the last half hour on this nice decline. The intraday streaming chart is what allows us to be able to do that. But a really nice decline on the S&P 500, even though it's trading positive 30 points or 13 points right now. It was up to 21 points plus. Now it's down to 13. So during that decline, I was in and out 4 trades for a total of 10% return cash income.
Nice.
And of course those are all back to cash now, but just using the same money 4 times. So it that's how you compound the returns. But it's really kind of easy to do when you have the intraday streaming chart, especially if you have Tim's great coaching out there as well. But
yes, right.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of a given, but you have to have the intraday streaming charts to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really essential. One of the great things about our ICE charts is that at a glance, you can tell which way it's moving. You have all the information and can literally make a decision in a second on whether this is a worthy entry point. We don't look at a lot of technicals. We don't look at anything. I mean, I do keep an underlying chart up just to see movements on the underlying, but our ICE charts really give you all that information in a nice, compact, graphical way that you can make decisions very quickly. So I feel like we have an edge because the way that the graphics are set up on our system, we get a hint on when bias is changing. So, we'll be in a call or a put direction, we'll have an exhaustion phase, and then it turns around and it just is cyclical, just up and down, up and down. And our charts are very good at indicating those prime entry points when there is volume moving in.
Absolutely. We're also joined by Mark, who is our futures coach as of today. We have launched the first kind of soft open of futures. We're doing 2 days a week, soon to be 5, as people get their accounts set up, their brokerage, and we're building our relationship with them so we can get you guys a consistent platform. But how's that all going, Mark? I think you have been trading futures. Did you make any trades today, or how's it all going?
Yeah, so hey, thanks. Yeah, so we started that today. We're going to do today and tomorrow. It's like trying to get everybody in the boat, get everybody rowing in the same direction. So the thing is, get everybody up to speed, like you're talking about with the charts and the platform and everything. But so it went pretty well today. I did have a little hiccup this morning because I opened a trade. I went down to some coffee, came back, and I got stopped out. So when you're doing 5 contracts or more, it becomes a little concerning because it adds up kind of quick. But so I was easily able to show them how to dig out that hole and get to a positive about 2,000, I guess, dollars today or so.
Wow!
So it was a good little lesson to show what's going on.
That's awesome.
But I think everybody's starting to get a little feel for it today. For some market had a nice little push up after open there for a while, and then it started pulling back some. And again, the charts are critical. I think that Randy is talking about, and Tim, that we really need to, watch the charts.
You're Mark. You're highly leveraged on those, also not by margin, but you're just highly leveraged.
I believe his connection just dropped out.
Yeah, he disappeared. Yeah, he's like Tim's micro moment trades. He's just you don't have much into a particular trade. But what do you say? They make $2,000 a day or something like that.
Yep. Yeah, a bit more investment, I believe, on the futures side. Tim, are you sure what 5 contracts costs on futures? Quite a bit more than say 5 contracts on options, eh? Oh, you're muted, Tim.
Sorry, it doesn't quite have the same leverage ability that we do in micro moments. So they are a bit more expensive, but you do have to start with, I believe, a 5,000 reserve in your account, and I believe that allows you some margin as well. But there's Mark. There's the man back.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Can you use
I
mine?
must have jumped cell towers here. I'm driving, so I apologize.
All good.
Yeah, like Tim is saying, you start with 5,000 accounts. It takes $500 per contract to open a trade. So yeah, you can do up to 10 contracts on that. And the idea is that we want you to start out, with 1 contract and actually work in your sim account. They call it sim live account, which is one of the most realistic simulation accounts I've seen in a long time. And utilize that to get proficient at it for about a month is what I recommend. And through the classes and stuff that we're doing now. And then from there, go live and start with that 1 contract. And then, once you get proficient, jump to 3 contracts, and then if you're doing well, continuing to go to the next level, jump to 5 contracts, right? So it's kind of a methodology where we're stepping and teaching a trader from perhaps nothing to learning to trade efficiently on their own. And I think, as we mentioned earlier, those charts are important, right? They really make a difference.
Mark, can you do virtual trading on these, on your platforms?
Yeah, that's the sim live trading. So it actually is simulated live trading, with the data, live data, and it moves just like the market does. It's one of the, like I said, the most realistic ones I've seen in a long time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, some of the fills on options virtual trading are not always very accurate.
Yeah, TOS
like
is kind of wonky. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mark, what platform do you recommend for futures?
So we've been recommending Infinity Futures. So infinityfutures.com. They have 2 versions. One is a downloadable desktop version. The other one is an internet, version. There are some nuances to both of them. I do like internet version, except for with the desktop version, I can pull up 2 separate windows of my orders, open orders, and my closed orders for the day, and kind of be able to track everything visually. That helps a lot. With the online version, it's a little bit different because it's a separate screen. And I'm just not as proficient with it, I guess. But it's still both very good platforms. Direct feed to the CME for the data, so it's really fast lightning speed data, which is really good.
Fantastic. Randy, did you have something?
Yeah, I actually was following along with Mark this morning on his training. I've been doing virtual trading on the NQ futures,
Yes, nice.
and was up $1,205 on my virtual account following Mark along this morning.
Wow, that's fantastic. How did it feel to trade that coming from options?
It's kind of like the same. It's a whole different kind of a platform. That the dome that goes up, it's really great. That dome makes it so easy to like enter orders and buy and close and see where it is. But you do the same thing. You follow the intraday streaming chart, and when it's a downward bias, then you sell the future. When it's an upward bias, you buy it. And then Mark shows you how to place the bracket orders for getting out and having a stop loss in case it goes drastically opposite of what was expected. But it's fun actually, and it's 24 hours a day, so yeah. You can do it. But like Mark said, before the U.S. stock market opens, it's a little slower. But once the U.S. stock market opens, it's just ripping all over the place right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Randy, if you saw that for the first time, that's gonna, you're like, holy crap, because it's really moving, right? Up and down, and it's all over, like you said.
Yeah. It's fun, and it's a simulated trade, so you can make a mistake. And it's not going to cost you any money. So you don't just go like the first hour, listen to Mark, and now you're an expert. It takes probably a few weeks of the coaching and the practicing to see what your results are. Before throwing in any real money. But simulated is fun. Yeah.
Yeah, simulated is is great to learn how a chart works, and it's also great to learn any new platform you're on. Sometimes when you're on a brand new platform, you're maybe not sure quite how to, cancel a partial order or move something around, on the fly, and things move very quickly. So it gives you a chance to make not only necessarily trading judgment mistakes, but mistakes on your platform of just the software of what you're using, pressing the right buttons. It takes some time to get used to that, used to your tools that you use for your job. Go ahead,
Hey,
John.
Mike, I don't know if Mark can see that question from Carl because he's on his iPhone. I think you might read that question.
I can't read
Yeah.
it. If you could read it to me, I can't read
Of course. Carl says, will the data feed for futures speed up the data feed for options? And are any of them delayed?
Well, unless once you subscribe to it, then the data feed is real time. We had some issues today with the chart data not matching the ladder or the trading ladder data. So I don't know if it was my connection on my end, the speed of my connection, but several people said the same thing. So we need to investigate that a little bit, Micah, to see what's happening with our feed from the chart supplier and how that works exactly, and just kind of take a deeper dive into that and see what we find out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, data. We want real-time data to be able to do that, and so we can utilize the charts effectively to determine our entry points and our exit points. Right.
Absolutely. Awesome. And then Pat asks Randy, why do you trade SPX instead of SPY?
A couple of reasons. One is SPY is like 10% of SPX. So if you want to put the same amount of capital to work, you basically have to have 10 times as many contracts with SPY. Now in this day and age, when it's the premium or the commission on the contracts is pretty small, it still is for each one SPX contract, it would be 10 SPY to trade the same amount of capital. The second reason is the SPX gets a better tax treatment than SPY. There's a special tax section in the IRS code, which some people would call a loophole, but it's not a loophole. It was specifically put in there many years ago, Section 1256. So the SPX has lower income tax than the same amount of profit on SPY.
Yep.
Interesting.
Are there any downsides to trading SPX instead of SPY?
Not as long as you're in and out of them in the same day. I don't know of any. They move the same. Basically the charts are almost exactly the same, and it's one thing like on SPX, the profits are 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents, 40 cents a contract instead of a penny, 2 pennies, 3 pennies. Mm-hmm. So from that perspective, it's a little bit easier to kind of track along with the change, but they're the same. So if you have less capital that you want to invest, then SPY is good, because the contracts are going to be $1, $1.20, much like what Tim does with Apple. But SPX, you're looking at $12, $8, $10, $12, sometimes $20. It just depends on how much time value there is.
Yep. What day of the week you're on and all that.
Yeah, what day of the week and what your expiration is. So.
Yeah.
It's like Randy's saying too. That's important. We don't hold those contracts overnight, so it's important because that's where we can get in trouble, right?
Oh, absolutely. You're right. Absolutely right, Mark. I mean, the micro moment trading is you're in and out in a few minutes. No, we never hold anything over, and especially you with your futures, you're teaching that as well. That you never hold a futures contract open overnight either. That's like probably the death toll for your account. So
that's the kiss of death for sure, because you could open up down 100 points, next thing you're all screwed up, right?
Yeah, and that's a big point about that intraday streaming, the intraday streaming chart, but also the micro moment trading is because you have gap ups and gap downs almost virtually every single day in the market. You don't want to have an option open overnight that you want to be closing for a profit the next day. because it could totally go the opposite direction overnight and you have no ability to
Yeah.
adjust, because options can only be traded when the market's open. So say that you did a SPX and you said, oh, it's going down, I'm you know buying the put, and then all of a sudden there's some great news tonight and it gaps up 70 points tomorrow, you just lost all your money. No,
That's,
so
Yeah.
we close for the micro moment trading, everyone is closed out before the end of the day. You're in cash at
Yeah.
the end of the day, one way or the other.
absolutely. Yeah. And
We had a gentleman this morning on the microphone trading who came
Yeah.
on and said that he had I don't know, like a week, nothing but profits all week, down to a Friday, and he got in a hurry and he wasn't going to be able to hang around and get out of a position, so he violated the rule, which was hanging in, and he lost all the money and all the profits he'd made the week before. And he didn't follow the rule, and he admitted it. He said, I just violated the rule. You never get up and leave yourself thing out for a break even or a small loss. There's never going to be more than just 2 cents. So
Well, that's good. He realizes, some people don't, even to themselves, they kind of lie to themselves, right, about their trading like that. They really fess up and say, yeah, I screwed up. I realize that. So it's good.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's unfortunate, but it's good that he's able to do that.
yeah,
Well, that internal honesty is absolutely necessary.
And that kind of highlights another point for the micro moment trading. Joe used to tell a story for just covered call trading about leaving the computer and going and answering the door. On micro moment trading, if you are in a trade, you do not leave the screen, period. You don't go make a sandwich. You don't say, oh, I've got an errand to run. You don't say, well, I'll get back to it late. No, you never leave an open order when you leave that screen. You got to be watching it the whole time.
yeah. And Randy, you're right. Randy, you're right. And you can get out of it so easy because you just get out, lose a few pennies. You're never going to lose more than a couple of cents. Otherwise, you may lose a quarter or 30 or 40 or 50 cents by walking away.
Yeah. You when you're doing micro moment trading, you're on the chart. I mean, you're watching it like a hawk, and if you need to step away, close it out.
Yeah.
Just close it and then come back later on whenever you want to and start again.
Yeah, and that's interesting. That's almost the exact words that Joe used this morning with this trader. If you leave, close it out. Close it out.
Yeah.
Earlier, Randy, you mentioned time value, and one thing I want to make clear about options too, especially overnight, is that with keeping it simple, right? Time decay basically means that the more time passes, the less they're worth. What that translates to is in that last week, that time decay increases. So basically, if you were to enter an option order overnight and it didn't move a penny, the app, say Apple closed at 150, opened at 150, you'd still lose money because it's actively going down, right, in that longer term. So you have to keep it short, not only for the reason of it swinging up and down and going against you, but for the fact that if it does nothing, it's fading off, right? Because it's getting closer to that expiration. So there's really no benefit of holding it overnight on an option, especially if you're that close to expiration. There's different techniques for that, right? If you want to do that, we can do all sorts of longer term techniques that work amazingly well. But it's just
selling
what
options is great for that kind of thing, right?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, selling options is great for that kind of things that you want the time decay in your favor of you're selling it. So.
Yep. Yeah, because there's someone on the other side benefiting from it.
Yeah, and to go along with that, most of my trades, and I think most of Tim's trades, they're slightly out of the money strike, which means that the premium is 100% time value. So if you buy the option and the price of the equity doesn't change at all the way through expiration, you'll lose 100% of your money if it was 100% time value, because that goes down, as you said, Micah, every day. So just another reason to make sure that you close those positions out. Now, by being in and out in a minute or two, you're not getting much time decay on that option. Everything's intrinsic value going up and down. But over the course of the day into the next day, you're losing some value. We don't keep the micro moment trading options open. You get them closed out.
That's right, and that's a good point. And also because of us not wanting to rely entirely on extrinsic value or time value, we have now moved our strikes to 1 or 2 in the money.
Oh, there you go. So you're about half and half or so.
Yeah, just to try to hedge that, and we're having good trading with that. If we're trading correctly, we're following the charts, we're picking our in points, then we're picking up additional profit by having a higher delta going in 1 or 2 in the money. Yeah, it's more expensive, but it has turned out to be well worth it. And so we can mitigate some of that time value loss that's just continuing to eat away at the value of that stock or ETF.
Another thing we talked about this morning on the micro moment session has to do with Randy's trades. There was an article in CNBC this morning that was talking about people who really love dividend stocks are having a very, very tough time because dividends are just so minuscule. Returns are so minuscule.
Mm-hmm.
Randy has the perfect selection where you go ahead and buy that same stock. And if you want to pay full price for it, pay full price for it. You're going to get the dividend, but then you're going to get on a weekly or even monthly basis additional monies by selling the covered calls, which just disappear. You're not going to ever lose your stock. You're making, if you were getting 3 or 4% on dividends, which would be high, you're going to be getting 30, 40, 50% returns. And you're still doing the exact same stock and you're still getting the same dividend. So.
Yeah, that was a real eye opener when you guys did the Dogs of the Dow talk. And we do covered calls on Apple as well. We follow Randy's technique as well and pick up both that dividend and the money for renting. So it's a double value.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you trade the micro moment options on it, and pretty soon you'll be trading those NASDAQ futures to get some Apple benefit as well.
we're moving in that direction.
One of the reasons we don't see what Mark looks like, there's no photograph or video of him there, is because these futures, we don't know what he's going to look like.
He's not really there yet.
Yes, he's
not there yet. It's the future. Yeah,
he's a true futures guy. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true. And also,
everything that comes through the mic here.
Yeah, because when he drives around in the cash cab, if he stops at a stop sign and they recognize him, they run up there, want a picture, a selfie, and an autograph.
Yeah, Randy, he's in the cash cab now.
Yeah,
that's where he is.
His is a cash RV right. Though, so
cash RV.
No, it's funny. It's funny. I was out and also they want advice, right? What about this stock? What about this Bitcoin?
Right.
Well, we will open up Q&A at this time. So if anyone has any questions or comments for us to answer,
I just made a profit on buying the future on the NASDAQ. Just went up.
NQ?
Yeah.
Still trade NQ?
Yeah, the NQZ one. And
nice.
Yeah, just entered the intraday streaming chart, just clicked up. So I bought and it went up and I sold it for a profit. And using the bracket order and things like that you teach, Mark.
Oh, they're good. Perfect. Yeah.
That's awesome. Nice. So Mark, you open up a bracket order that's the same every time based on the
yeah, we put that bracket order contains a stop. Yeah, so the bracket order contains a stop, and it also has a profit point, a limit order. And the idea is we want to lock in that 10 points or so during that movement. So we look for entry points. We can jump in. Now, of course, it continues to roll.
Getting into the meat of it.
But unfortunately, because I'm simulated trading, so I'm making all this money in my simulated account. It's not real money yet. So
yeah,
it would be nice if it was. But I'm going to practice for a while to make sure I've got it all bedded down, because it is it's kind of fun to watch that thing going up and down. You got to make sure that you're following the rules and staying real strict about it, and just instead of just getting excited about everything moving up and down.
Yep. Here is Mark again. Can you hear us, Mark?
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, been on a cell phone,
Okay.
so it's cutting out over here. I actually have 4 bars, so it's kind of weird. But
I thought you were getting cash cab customers.
Yeah, that was it. It was getting a selfie. They were up to the window saying, "Hey, give me a picture. Give me a picture."
yeah, that the cops pulled me over.
But he was asking for advice. He wasn't going to give you a ticket. He
Yeah.
he recognized you as well, Mark.
Hey, what do you think of
Hey,
Bitcoin?
yeah.
Question here from Carl.
Carl
Is
says,
there anything I need to do different or look for when I? Oh yeah, thank you.
Thinkorswim, I'm a little nervous. Carl, really it's simple. You know, when you sign on to that first logon screen, you can select live trading from there and get into your live account. What we always suggest is when you do that, just make sure you're comfortable with the platform first. You know how to get in and out of trades without thinking, and start with one contract, and just follow the rules that we have. It's no different. Well, no, that's not entirely true. What you're going to experience though is the real life competition of buying and selling in a live market, which is a little different. With the simulated trading, you're always going to get in and you're always going to get out instantly on the sim trading. But in the real world, it's a little bit different. And since options run on their own supply and demand, getting in and getting out can be a little different. So just be aware of that, but just be safe. Start with one contract, do everything, that we suggest, and grow from there. When you're getting consistent wins on that one, move up to 2, move up to 5, move up to 10, whatever your comfort level is, whatever your portfolio allows, and just do it. But
let me say something about Carl. The other thing is there's no reason to be nervous when you're doing the micro trading versus Randy's more traditional covered call trading. He has lots of rules because he can do a number of different things. They're all to his advantage. In the micro moment, we only have one, and all you have to do is learn from Mark and Cezanne and Tim how to read that chart, and that chart's going to tell you when to get out, and then you immediately turn around and start getting out. Or when to get in, you immediately turn around and start getting out. You don't sit there and worry about anything, so there's nothing to be nervous about, like you picked the wrong stock or something, because you didn't. You're only going to be dealing with a index or an Apple, something like that, SPX or something. But those are indexes, and so there's nothing to be nervous about. And once you get that out of your blood or nervous system, I'm going to be nervous. No, it's a red and green light situation type thing, and that's why you don't mind half a trade that goes bad because you're only talking about a penny or two.
Mm-hmm.
Just follow the rule to get in and get out.
Mm-hmm. So, and it is something that progressively evens out, right? It is going to be maybe uncomfortable at first, but you're going to get used to the flow. You're going to watch the same chart. It's very repetitive is what I will say about the chart, right? By design, but it goes up and then it goes down, and then it goes up and then it goes down, and it continues to and will for years to come. So getting used to that repetition of what it looks like. Your fills are, like Tim said, maybe going to be a touch slower than live, right? But just remember there's that other person on the side of it. Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think we got that one.
I think what's Micah has this thing where his cuts in and out. But Micah, I think what it is that matches my senility, where I just forget what I'm going to say. Because lots of times it looks like seriously, it's funny. You'll start talking and your mouth just stops moving. And then 1 second, 2 seconds, maybe it's the longest, maybe 3 seconds later, pick back up where you were. So it's some kind of electronic mechanical thing.
His internet freezing up a little bit there.
Yeah. I need a little buffering circle.
That's right. But it makes you look like you're trying to think.
My face, yeah. My glasses will do a little circle when I'm loading.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm working on getting the internet cleaned up here. I went from living in Seattle to Montana, so don't get nearly the speeds that I'm used to.
What do you have, dial-up?
No, not quite that. feels like it after coming out of the city there.
Yeah.
Oh, but he has to keep the hamster fed so it can run that cage real fast.
That's right.
Exactly. Generating my power.
Electricity there, yeah.
Yep, exactly.
That cat that fell off, did that cat die or did come back?
Which cat?
Remember that cat a long time ago that fell off the top of your deal and wiped out your computer and everything while we were in a session? Remember that?
Yeah. He was climbing up on the desk right here. When I put my hand up, I was actually pushing him off the desk because he was trying to get up again. Yeah. But I have since stopped holding flowers on my desk with water. We're done with that.
That's right.
Question from Tim, Pat?
Yeah, Pat says, in MMT, it seems we always seem to get in the first out of the money position. Did I hear you say we now use the first or second position in the money to enter new? Yes. Yep. Pat, we started this about a month ago when Saison started on the call. I had moved my strike to 1 or 2, usually 2 in the money for the potential profit, the higher delta and potential, or the higher delta and potential profit on that. So, yeah, that's where we're going. Pat, you can, of course, be wherever you'd like on it, but we're seeing good results. Just moving 1 or 2 into the money has worked out very nicely for us. So that's what we're doing. And again, the reason we're doing that is we're trying to mitigate just having to rely or be so dependent on time value. And in fact, Saison has an additional step that she takes is on Thursday and Friday. She moves over into next week's expirations just to avoid the extreme time decay that we get on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah. Tim, could you speak for a moment on some of the stability that comes with increasing your price a little bit too? What happens when you're trading around 90 cents versus like 250?
How do you mean stability?
It seems like when you get into a little bit higher price, when the swings occur on the underlying, the option is a little bit more steady in its transition, whereas a lower price is going to be really jumpy, very aggressive. What does that look like in your trading?
Yeah, that's very much true. We find that moving, 1 or 2, 3 positions into the money, we don't have quite that that bounce reaction that we do at lower prices. So it's less scarier, really, to be 1 or 2 in the money, and we see higher price action at a higher delta. Which is nice. So when you're on a nice move, you've caught a nice swing up or down, and you're in the appropriate side of the screen, we're seeing higher profit results from that, which is nice. Now, the flip side of that is you have the potential to lose more money at a higher delta. But it just seems to be a little more resistant to those downside swings or those swings one way or the other. It just seems to be a little more resistant. So we get an extra second or so reaction time at the higher deltas. You just want to make sure it has enough volume going on.
You can trade that off a little bit too, so that you're still using like you just described, but using further out. Like Saison's more apt to use further out than you are.
Yeah.
She's into next week where you're still into this week.
Yeah.
Because you're into this week, you're getting that accelerated expiration on that immediate one that you go into. So you're going to have more action on it,
Yeah.
You have the choice whichever way you want to go.
Yeah. And Robert says higher delta than 60. Yeah. I mean, I'm often in an 80 delta, which means, for every dollar the underlying moves, I can reasonably expect, an 80-cent gain in the price. Doesn't always work out that way, but it's fairly close. And because delta is always a backward view, it doesn't predict the future.
Fantastic. Yes, and then oftentimes that last step of choosing, right? Because then you're in the delta kind of gets you to an area of options, like you got 2 or 3 to pick from, oftentimes we go off the highest volume, right? We want to pick one of these 2 or 3, and then whatever has more active trading on it, we're going to go with that one. Because, as we mentioned earlier, when we go from virtual to live, there has to be another person on the other side at that moment at that price. It has to be real, and it has to be the right amount of contracts to fill you. So the more volume you have, right? If there was just me and Tim in this room talking back and forth, we have 2 viewpoints, we have 2 opinions, but as we get 5 people in here, there starts to be a lot more views that can interact with each other, right? Kind of same thing in the market. So
certainly more volume and more open interest does point to better liquidity on the sell side, which is something that we always like to see. But if you ever have a level 2 up and you see how fast these trades are going off, I've really not had a huge issue in in getting out of positions. And actually, I did have some trouble this morning selling to close, which I don't know if that was a platform related issue because the volume, I pulled up a level 2 and there's, on Apple, there's just hundreds of contracts going off every second. So although we need to have an exact match, as Mike just said, there's got to be a buyer, there's got to be a seller who agree on price and size. It's hard to believe that I couldn't find that match in some of those trades to sell. But anyway, that's kind of a rare occurrence.
There's a good question about Daryl there.
Yeah. I'll take this one from Daryl here. Yeah. How is the best way to learn and get more info on MMT? I use Tradeovate to trade the micro mini futures. Will this program work on Tradeovate? So that sounds like your trading platform. Looks like Mark is back with us here. Mark, do you have a stable connection with us?
Sorry, back in a real building, I think. So trying to get hooked up here.
Yeah.
So I can't read the question about it. I thought I heard you say about the micro E minis, right?
Yeah, the question up there right now from Daryl, it says, how is the best way to learn and get more info on MMT, I use Tradeovate to trade the micro mini futures. Will this program work on Tradeovate? I guess.
I don't know what that is exactly, but I know that we can do the micro mini futures in the Infinity Futures platform. So I've never used it, so I'm not real familiar with it. So,
well, and
I'm assuming that you can.
That's one of the important things.
Right now.
Yeah, the teaching of how to use the intraday streaming charts to identify the entry and exit points it's not the same. There's no connection between whatever trading platform that you're using. You can use any trading platform you decide to use, but the teaching that Tim does in the morning and Mark does in the morning of how to read the intraday streaming charts to enter or exit the micro moment trades, that's independent of whatever broker platform that you're using.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good stuff, Randy. Yep.
So yes, absolutely. That will work great on there. Best way to learn and get more info on MMT futures. We have a bunch of videos up on our Facebook, TikTok, and a lot of content on our Instagram explaining the micro moment and our charts. If you want to see how the ICE charts function, I would go to Facebook and check out our videos. We use those same charts for futures. And then just today actually is our first day, Daryl, of launching that futures program. We're doing 2 days a week and then going to 5. So we're compiling more videos and information to clearly explain how to get involved with the futures and what that is. So if you want to follow us on social media, we're on pretty much every platform, and that will give you a direct line to figure out our progress with the futures. But we have our ICE charts up and running now for futures. It's a proprietary charting system with our indicators. and I think it'll be a great time, great way to reframe your trading altogether if you're interested in that. So fantastic. Well, gentlemen, I appreciate you all being here today. Is there anything else, any other questions we can answer? Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Daryl. We'll keep you in the loop, and then we're here every Thursday morning at this time as well. If you have questions, you can always come on here and ask us live as well.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All righty. Well, I want to thank everyone for being here. It's a great day and heading into a clean weekend, hopefully, and a great week next week of trading. We're through Apple earnings, right? So we should, are we heading into a pretty steady week?
Yes, thank
Randy
goodness.
and Tim?
Thank goodness.
Yeah. Any quick market outlooks for us?
Well, Apple continues to rise. It's broken through 150 and has stayed above 150 for a while. So I think it's on a slow rise here. But sign up for the service, tune in with us every morning, and we'll give you more.
Yep, absolutely. Robert says thank you. Carl says, is there an update on software changes? Yes, our charts for the futures are live on all symbols, I believe, Mark.
Good. Okay, guys.
Yes,
Alrighty.
that's
Bye-bye.
great.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye.
Okay, see you guys.